are you? You look beautiful. Thank you for joining me. I am Meryl. This is Meryl's Mystic, and we are here today to do a reading for our new moon in Sagittarius. And before we start, I want to remind you that all of my links are attached, however you need to get a hold of me. And I want to thank you for your continued support and all the love and the likes and the shares and the subscribes. I feel it. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for tuning in again so that we can tune into the current energy around us so that you can tune into yourself. So let's talk about it before we get into it. So retrograde is over on the 20th. Mercury retrograde is over on the 20th. We're still in a shadow period. This, I think as much as Mercury retrograde in Scorpio sounded scary, it's been pretty good for me, but I'm a Scorpio, so maybe I just listen to the advice this time, which I don't always listen to my own advice. So hopefully it's taught you some things. Hopefully some cool things have happened, and hopefully anything that's come up for you, you've been able to work through. And if you haven't, let me know. That's what individual readings are good for. So that over on the 20th, the first day of Sagittarius is November 22nd. So early happy birthday to all the Sagittarians. And then our new moon in Sagittarius is on Tuesday the 26th. It's in the early morning. It's like 8 a.m. my time, which is mountain time. I knew that. But that's 7 a.m. Pacific time and 10 a.m. Eastern. So it's you take advantage of it the night. You'll feel probably more the night before the evening of the 25th into the 26th. But the new moon energy basically runs until the next new moon, and it's the full moon energy that is kind of just around the full moon. So and so also I will be doing a live Q&A on the evening of the 26th. So after you guys watch your video, and after we have the new moon, and you can come with your questions, and we'll do some free mini reads. And the last one was really awesome, and they're just gonna get better. So please come join me. Those will be on the Meryl's Mystic Facebook page. If you're not on the Facebook page, I'm so sorry. I don't know how else to do those. Those are the best way for me to do them. And if you want me to still share them on the YouTube, let me know. Okay, so Sagittarius energy in the light, they are the world traveler, the truth seeker, and the constant student. In the shadow, they can be brash or rude, not think before they speak. They can come off as rebellious, which I don't like the negative connotation of rebellious, but we'll get to that. And beyond stubborn when they're in shadow. So there's a lot of expansion and contraction when it comes to the Sagittarius energy, where they can appear to be one way, but they're so much more than that. And in tarot, they are represented by temperance. And so temperance is all about the balance and alchemy of combining two opposing forces. And although Sagittarius isn't technically a dual sign, there are dual parts to every sign. And so just like there's duality in life and paradoxes in life, we're not shallow beings. We're deep. We have lots of layers, and Sagittarius is no different. They're also considered the oldest fire sign, and they are they're the mutable fire sign. So they're not always as flashy as other fire signs. Sorry, Aries and Leo, you guys are just a little bit more out there than the Sagittarians. But the Sagittarians are out there when they want to be. So that's what this Sagittarius energy is really about. It's about kind of using that rebellious shadow side for good, and really pulling on both sides of that within us, the expansion and the contraction, the open, having the open mind and being the truth seeker, but then having the strong boundaries and being stubborn when we need to, and really finding that balance between the opposing forces within ourselves. So also the messages I've been seeing about this is, and this goes along, I feel like this is just carryover from this Scorpio Mercury retrograde, excuse me, that if you haven't been doing the inner work that all this energy has been offering you since like the summer, since right when summer began, then these last little bursts of this transformative energy is going to be really difficult for you. So I really want to really encourage you to, you know, maybe take a step back, especially right near the end of Scorpio, going into Sagittarius. Really go inside. Really, it's like Scorpio's kind of the contraction time. Sagittarius is like expanding into that. This is really about owning oneself, not fighting who you are. Sagittarians are really positive people. Their energy is really buoyant and abundant, and they are usually also unapologetically themselves. So really try to tap into that, and because if you have been doing that work, you're gonna, you know, the energy, it's very karmic energy about where if you've been doing the inner work and you've been, you know, you're gonna start reaping those benefits. If you've been ignoring it and you've been suppressing things, then you're gonna start really getting some messages and lessons and some resistance, and things possibly aren't going to turn out the way you want them to. You'll get unexpected news from unexpected places that will throw wrenches into your system. It is meant to shake you up. It is meant for you to change. If you have not been taking advantage of how the energy has been pushing you to change, to get more into your divine path and more into your highest self and your best self, this will be the time that it's going to really happen. And I've been warning you. You want to answer the universe when it's just a little tap on the shoulder, or even when it starts really knocking. You don't want it to punch you in the face, because it will if you're not listening. And also, if you keep putting that out there, it's like then you're gonna have these things happen that are gonna feel like, oh wow, woe is me, what is this, what's happening, life is so hard, the universe is out to get me. It will keep doing things to prove to you that that's right. It's all self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you're doing the inner work and you know you're supported and that abundance is on its way, it is. This is what karma really is getting back what you put out there. And the universe, the vibration is raising, the veil is thinner. It's gonna show you more and more that what you say is your reality is your reality. So you gotta change it up here and you gotta change it in here. All right, let's get into the readings. See you in a second. Hi, my fire signs. How are you all? So happy to see you. If you are a Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, this is for you. So if it is in your sun, moon, or rising / ascendant sign, then these messages are for you. I'd like to remind you that if the messages don't resonate, then they're not for you, and to just let them go. Don't ever give your power up to any reader, including myself. You always have the power and will of conscious choice. It is in your hands. So let's get into it. Let's do a little drop-in together. If you can close your eyes somewhere you are sitting and maybe put your feet on the ground. Cards are already coming out. I'm going to shuffle a little bit while we do this. I will charge these cards up with the energy. Today we're asking the tarot during this Sagittarius new moon, what we will gain, what we will lose, and how to find the balance. We talked about expansion and contraction. Expansion, gaining, contraction, losing in a human sense. So this is all about marrying your spirit, your soul, with your human, your ego. It's expanding, contracting, and how that manifests in the physical realm. So take some deep breaths. You can put your feet on the floor, feel the ground supporting you, feel your seat supporting you. Feel your consciousness expand into the room. You don't even have to open your eyes, into the room and out into the building, to the neighborhood, to the city, to the state that you are in, to the country. And imagine you're just floating up above the world and feel so tiny being in the vastness of the universe. And come back into your body. And we invite only our spirit guides that mean to do us good. Anything that is here to do us harm is not welcome. Yes, we're talking about losing. Yes, we're talking about shadow, but we're here talking about it to see what lessons we're meant to learn from it. Okay, so first we have, what will my lovely fire signs gain? 6 of Wands. This is a great card. This is really cool, you guys. What will you gain? You will gain some accolades and some celebration, and look at that. There's like a parade for you. You've achieved things and you are getting recognized for it. Celebrate. Holiday. I can still hear it. That takes some time to celebrate. The wedding singer version, of course. So this is great. So this means that you've been doing some work, and I see you. Proud of you. You've been doing some work, and it's finally at a point to recognize how far you've come and maybe treat yourself for it. Maybe you deserve a little something extra for how far you've come, for how well you've handled the changes, the slings and arrows of life, you know? This is coming back from, you know, a successful journey, successful battle. So what successes are here, and how is recognizing that, validating it, and celebrating it, nurturing, you know, your passion and your drive? Because that's why you're coming so far, is your passion and your drive is really helping you along. Celebrate. So that is awesome. What will we lose? What will those fire signs lose? You know, there's a quote that says, lose something every day, and it's about letting go, and how we gain from letting go. We gain knowledge about ourselves and our limitations and our boundaries. So what will we lose? The Hangman. Interesting. So the Hangman, as something that you will lose, first came to me, what came to me initially was something to do with your spirituality or your faith. And maybe not necessarily in like a higher power, almost like you could be, maybe if you're not doing this, if you're not willing to gain some accolades for what you've achieved, you're at risk for losing faith in yourself, a sense of purpose, a sense of self. You're it was tingly and it came to me really quickly and then it kind of went away. Like, that's how it feels. Like, if you're not willing to, you know, I think sometimes, you know, they say that it's funny because fire signs are seen as so extroverted that I think you can appear to be, you know, okay with compliments or to be in the spotlight or just people to, you know, celebrate you in this way. But that, I don't find that always the case. You know, you guys are really good at being the center of attention, but it has to be on your own terms. As soon as it's from other people, this is really about it being from other people about you, you're less inclined, like, you get really humble or you get really almost like self-conscious about it, and you're like, no, stop. Like, you like it, you want to like it, but then you feel bad for liking it. And this is like telling you, like, you should like it, like, you should really feel it. You should really let yourself feel the admiration, and for, you know, maybe from yourself to yourself. Maybe you're not even, you know, acknowledging it to yourself enough, and so that's why it's hard to accept that from other people. And if you don't do that, you're at risk for losing a sense of yourself, a sense of a deeper connectedness with yourself. Because these little things that feel like you're being humble, or, you know, don't feel like they're doing that much, they can start adding up and almost begin to be like, they can start manifesting. It's like you didn't know, you kept putting, like, like, maybe you subconsciously were, like, throwing water, water outside your window. I'm trying to think of, like, how to make an analogy for this. I imagine, like, you know, like almost like Jack and the Beanstalk, where she just threw the seeds out the window trying to get rid of them, and they planted themselves and grew overnight. It's like you subconsciously, like, did this thing, and all of a sudden it just grew overnight. But these are, like, little things that keep adding up. So it's these little, like, you saying, no, I'm not worth it, I'm not worth it. Like, no, you really don't have to do that for me. No, it's okay. It actually starts depleting your energetic value. So it's almost like you keep saying, I'm not worth it, you know, and you don't think twice about it, because it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, and it feels like you're trying to be humble, which you are, but it's happening in the wrong way. Instead of you being gracious and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, I really appreciate that, you're saying no, 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 and that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that you have no value, you're not worth it, and then you lose this, like, connection with your higher self. Because the Hangman's really about connection to yourself and your spirituality, and how your intuition is kind of a bridge for your spirituality, and for having a sense of something bigger than oneself, and having a sense of purpose in the world, and, like, why we're doing it all. So I hope that makes sense. That was a lot that just, like, came out of me. It's like you need to recognize yourself and let others recognize you for how far you come, how the great things you're achieving, or you risk losing that connection with your higher self that you've been working on everything else. It's almost like this is the one thing that you just haven't quite connected yet for the whole thing. Ooh. And then out pops the third one because we're ready for it now. How to find balance. The Fool in reverse. The Fool in reverse. Interesting. This is like, because the Fool is very much a travel card. It's like in the journey, be the journey. Now the Fool in reverse is kind of a halt. And it's interesting that after the Hanged Man too, because in the sense of something that you could lose is like, it's maybe you've been in this Hanged Man position for a little while, and you're losing that isolation, or you're losing that space of having time and room to go inward and to do your inner work. And to find the balance is you need to almost like keep, this is like, it's like reminding you like we're all on the journey, you're on the path, but something about boundaries. Like, you're still moving forward. Things are gonna, you know, things are gonna possibly stir up a little bit. So making sure you're holding your boundaries and holding where you are. Man, I hardly ever get the Fool in reverse. It's so interesting. And usually it's really clear why Fool's in reverse. Which is funny because I think the other day I heard that the Hanged Man is somewhat of the Fool in reverse. So these could, mean even the same sort of thing. There's a weird, like, we're getting this crossover message between these two cards together, and then there's a crossover message with these two cards together, and then it's like how to connect all of them to have the full picture. I mean, the Fool represents all of us, so the Hanged Man is all something we all experience. You definitely need to be gaining accolades. You could lose some stillness. Maybe you had been cultivating stillness and had been working on making your circles smaller, and maybe you're getting ready to lose a little bit of that. That's it's like losing a little bit of that time and space, like I said before, but it doesn't mean that you have to like lose all boundaries and just like let everything, you know, go to the wayside. It's like still make sure you're like holding your ground. Okay, so we're gonna pull a Mystical Shaman Oracle card. I hope. It kind of feels like it's with the Hanged Man and the Fool together, Fool reverse. It feels a little bit like you could go with this or you could go with that. You could go with this or you could go with that. Like, it's your choice which way you go. And again, that like what you're putting out there, you know, it's they're both upside down ultimately. So maybe you're feeling a little upside down. Maybe some of you do need to expect your world to feel a little upside down. Maybe I'm getting a bunch of different messages because there's a bunch of because this is a general reading, and there could be a bunch of just messages coming for so many people. So don't think that just because one doesn't sit with you that none of them do. Like, you got to sift through the messages to find what's there, and then the more you know how to recognize them, the more they'll be apparent. Okay, so the Serpent in reverse. The Serpent is very cool. It's a real cool card. Okay, so it's in reverse, so we read the medicine. The essence. Let me get some water. Excuse me. The serpent is the life force of Mother Earth. The coiled serpent of the Kundalini brings passion, healing, and renewal. She offers us the fruit of the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, and reminds us to shed the past the way she sheds her tired old skin. Serpent comes to offer you the forbidden fruit that will set your passion and creativity free. Ooh. The medicine. When you shed the past gracefully, life will not strip it away with great drama. Indeed, that is something you want to avoid. Do not use your energies to seduce others or allow yourself to be seduced, even by your own ideas. Interesting. Do not use your energies to seduce others or allow yourself to be seduced, even by your own ideas. And that's almost like what this is feeling like. Like, make sure you're doing things, you know, in a timely manner. It's also, don't rush things. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. That was organic. All right, my friends, that is what we have for you today. I hope that helped. I hope that resonated. If you need personal readings and more messages, you contact me, no problem. And then please join me on my Facebook Live November 26th. It will probably be about 7 or 8 in the evening, Mountain Time, for a live Q&A for our new moon in Sagittarius. And I will see you next time. Bye.